Hindsight is perfect. It's easy to believe that Nvidia, the pioneer of artificial intelligence chips, was always destined for success, considering that it now boasts the world's greatest market capitalization. Many experts feel that Nvidia can do no wrong, and that its massive previous success deserves unshakable confidence that Nvidia stock will succeed in the future. However, to appreciate where Nvidia is now, it is useful to look back at where it began and the path it followed to get there. That is a basic idea of my new portfolio, which has examined a wide range of firms to analyze their history, current state of operations, and future prospects. In this three-part series, you'll gain a better understanding of Nvidia's history, discovering how it grew from a tiny participant in a small segment of the technology industry to the giant it is today. Nvidia was founded in 1993 by current CEO Jensen Huang and two other co-founders. At the time, artificial intelligence was the realm of science fiction, and Huang's objectives were far more limited. During the 1990s tech boom, Nvidia spent the majority of its effort developing technologies to propel the video game and multimedia industries beyond their two-dimensional foundations and enable realistic 3D graphics rendering. It took 6 years, but by 1999, Nvidia had accomplished a significant milestone in its early goals. The release of the GeForce 256 Graphics Processing Unit, GPU, marked the first time video game graphics had advanced beyond traditional graphics card technology. Rather than putting additional burden on a computer's or gaming console's central processing unit, CPU, Nvidia's GPU handled all visuals. This helped to prevent games from slowing down or crashing. In the years that followed, Nvidia GPUs pushed game developers to make significant strides forward, with ever more realistic designs that make video games from the 1980s and 1990s appear archaic in contrast. Despite its name, GPUs proved to be useful for more than just graphics. CPUs were primarily designed to execute predefined tasks in order. However, as software engineers focused on using the massive amounts of data they had collected to gain valuable insights, efforts to use computers for deep learning revealed that GPUs' parallel processing power made them far superior to CPUs for handling heavy workloads. The 2010s saw rapid advancements in machine learning. Researchers regularly employed NVIDIA GPUs in their work, and the 2016 donation of the first NVIDIA DGX-1 AI supercomputer to OpenAI marked the start of a 6-year journey that would culminate in the 2022 debut of AI-powered chatbot ChatGPT. NVIDIA did not sacrifice all of its previous successes to focus only on AI hardware. Its RTX GPU, released in 2018, made another step forward in computer graphics by enabling real-time ray tracing for higher resolution. As Meta platforms pushed the tech industry to adopt its metaverse vision, NVIDIA's Omniverse platform emerged to enable digital twins and robotics that could operate in both the real and digital worlds. NVIDIA's journey has been long, and it has not always been focused on artificial intelligence. A critical component of NVIDIA's success has been recognizing when the first addressable market it attempted to capture was significantly smaller than the full possibilities of their technology. NVIDIA's financial tale is identical to that of the second item in this 3-part series, which will be published tomorrow. Given the massive gains made by NVIDIA stock over the last 5 years, market activity has been somewhat calm in recent months. However, given the industry outlook and ongoing good developments, NVIDIA stock is expected to remain in a long-term upswing. China recently approved the import of the first batch of H200 chips, NVIDIA's second most powerful AI chip. Currently, ByteDance, Alibaba, and Tencent have all received approval to purchase more than 400,000 H200s. In addition, China has provisionally approved DeepSeek, an AI startup, to purchase H200 AI chips. With orders beginning to come, this event is likely to have a positive influence on NVIDIA stock, since growth may accelerate. To put things in context, China formerly accounted for 20% to 30% of NVIDIA's sales share. NVIDIA's success has been fueled by invention, and the business now has 8,700 granted and pending patents worldwide. As a full-stack computing infrastructure company with data center-scale offerings, NVIDIA sees a $1 trillion market opportunity. NVIDIA announced $57 billion in revenue for the third quarter of fiscal 2026, up 62% year-on-year. Strong top-line growth was accompanied by a high GAAP gross margin of 73.4% for the quarter. Nvidia's stock price has increased by around 8% during the last 6 months. With robust earnings growth prospects and upcoming shipments to China, the picture remains positive. Join our investor community. Hit subscribe and like to get your daily Nvidia stock insights and tutorials delivered. Nvidia's re-entry into the Chinese market has been a crucial growth factor. Despite a dip in China sales over the last 24 months, Nvidia's growth has remained steady. As a result, Nvidia's positive growth outlook is supported by a number of factors. Nvidia predicts accelerated computing, agentic applications, and AI models to account for $3 trillion to $4 trillion in yearly AI infrastructure investment. This will ensure that the current growth trend continues. In terms of value creation, Nvidia reported $22.1 billion in free cash flow, FCF, for the third quarter. Given the growth trend, FCF is anticipated to exceed $100 billion during the next 12 to 24 months. This will give the corporation the flexibility it needs to invest heavily in innovation while still pursuing aggressive share repurchases. Nvidia's high financial flexibility also allows it to pursue acquisitions based on growth and innovation. In 2024 and 2025, Nvidia made 11 acquisitions. The business recently acquired AI accelerator chip startup Grok for $20 billion. It's also worth mentioning that Nvidia's growth is expected to come from new markets. For example, Nvidia and Eli Lilly are collaborating on an AI co-innovation center for medication discovery. BNP Paribas has also highlighted robotics as a crucial growing technology area, and Nvidia is well positioned to gain from its rise. According to 50 analyst ratings, Nvidia stock is a strong buy. The vast majority of 44 analysts give Nvidia a strong buy rating. Furthermore, 3 analysts grade Nvidia as moderate buy, 2 as hold, and only 1 as a strong sell. Analysts presently have an average price target of $254.81, implying a 36% possible upside from here. Furthermore, the most bullish price objective of $352 means that Nvidia stock might grow by up to 88% from its current level. This may not come as a surprise given the multi-year tailwinds that potentially result in strong profits growth and cash flow upside. Analysts predict 59% earnings increase in fiscal 2027. Nvidia seems to constantly making deals and forming alliances. Undoubtedly, the GPU king has enough of money to spend and, more significantly, efficiencies to unlock when it chooses to collaborate to address some of the world's most pressing concerns. At the end of the day, while some may be concerned about more circular deal-making, teamwork is necessary to avoid overlapping efforts and large expenditures. Of course, excessive investments may increase the risk of an ultimate collapse if the AI bubble bust scenario occurs, possibly due to a lack of monetization development or something that has not yet been identified by the market. Indeed, it is sometimes the under-the-radar hazards that provide the most impact. In any case, Nvidia's most recent large deal saw Jensen Huang's enterprise place a $2 billion investment on CoreWeave with a $2 billion stake. This latest deal comes just weeks after Nvidia spent a couple of $1 billion on a variety of other deals, including the $1 billion Eli Lilly co-innovation collaboration, a $4.9 billion gamble on Intel, and, of course, the massive Grok deal for assets and talent for $20 billion. Undoubtedly, Jensen Huang has made some excellent, high-return bets in the AI business in recent years. Could he have done better by taking greater swings on previous investments like Elon Musk's xAI? Most definitely. However, stakes and valuations have increased significantly in recent years. And if the so-called AI honeymoon has finished or is about to end, as Deutsche Bank contends, such investments may give Nvidia investors concern rather than excitement. In the end, only time will tell how well all of these bets perform. On the plus side, I believe Huang and his staff have an ear for valuation. Nvidia has been buying the dip in some high-quality AI innovators. Recently, we've seen certain prices plummet dramatically. Could it be that there are deals forming in the AI scene? And, if there is more pain ahead for the AI trade, can investors expect Nvidia and other top AI businesses to accelerate their deal-making? I'd argue that greater near-term hardship, perhaps in 2026, could be a net benefit for Nvidia and the Magnificent Seven, since they'll have more opportunities to feast on the most promising AI startups, possibly at a significant discount on the way down. Nvidia's investment in Intel occurred at a time when the company was experiencing difficulties. Arguably, shares of the rival chipmaker overswung to the downside and were a terrific deal. Though Intel's last parabolic run may result in a correction, I believe Nvidia achieved in the second half of last year at a very reasonable price. The main benefit of Intel's stake is the possibility for recovery acceleration when Nvidia steps in. In any case, it's a sensible, value-conscious bet, at least in relative terms. Regarding the CoreWeave investment, I believe it is well-timed, considering that shares of the data center play have been declining in recent quarters. The stock has already taken a nearly 50% haircut, which may be enough to develop value for Nvidia as it seeks to capitalize on troughs in the AI market. With Deutsche Bank just upgrading shares for the year ahead, I believe Jensen Huang is a more value-oriented investor than many people realize. He's purchasing top AI growers on the cheap, and if CoreWeave stock sells for $140 per share, as Deutsche Bank estimates, investors may once again reward Nvidia for its savvy choices. Don't forget to share your thoughts and experiences in the comments below. Your input helps create a more knowledgeable community where we can all learn and grow together in the world of investing. Stay up to date with the latest market trends, insights, and key updates by subscribing to Investing Tutorial. We're here to help you make smarter investment decisions and stay ahead of the curve.
When you think about the Mag 7 names, I mean, there were some that people loved, like Microsoft. I actually was with the trader last night, and she said, my pick this year was Microsoft. It's not going very well. You know, it's frustrating for folks. Let's talk about those Mag 7 names. Corey, what did you think of the names that have reported thus far?
Well, you know, I tend to look at what the companies are telling us, not necessarily what the stocks are, how the stocks are moving at that particular moment. And what there have been a lot of moments in the last year where we've wondered, is the AI trade reaching a peak? Are we in an AI bubble? Is the spending not going to continue? And how is the spending changing? And I think that what we saw from the results we've seen so far from the Mag 7, let's toss out Apple. It's a very different kind of company. But if you look at Microsoft, Meta, even Tesla to some degree, what we saw was a real commitment to spending untold billions of dollars to continue to build out AI and really no slowdown in sight. I think that one of the things we're going to see here, though, and I think it's really our fault as people trying to understand what the businesses are doing, really, and the market trying to understand things, not so much the companies changing their discussion, but there's more and more discussion about the things that go around the purchase of chips, right? We've talked about the AI build as being spending money on GPUs, buying chips. Maybe there's going to be some AMD mixed in with all that Nvidia, and maybe there's going to be some Micron surrounding the Nvidia and AMD chips. But I think what we're starting to hear about is a lot of conversations about power and a lot of conversations about networking connectivity. And so it wasn't a Mag 7 name, but last week I looked at Corning telling us a lot about connectivity between data centers and how lucky, Nicole, you and I are to be with Kim Forrest, who's a real expert on this and has been talking to me about this offline for a long time, because I think that this networking connectivity and the way that data centers are building out and the complexity of those data centers is going to be a focus. We saw that in the CapEx numbers last week. We saw that in the commentary and conference calls. I think we'll see that more from Amazon and from Google later this week.
And don't worry, because I'm going to be asking Kim Forrest plenty here. Let's see some of your thoughts thus far on the names that have reported. I mean, when you look at Microsoft, Meta, Tesla, Apple, I mean, Apple had the great record iPhone sales, but what is the AI strategy? I mean, there's different things. You know, Microsoft went down while Meta went up. Your thoughts, Kim, which ones do you like or not like, or what's the story to you?
Sure. Well, I think I'll take the higher plane to start at. And I think especially in the names that we're talking about, they have a real existential crisis. Google is probably the biggest company that could be displaced entirely, if that isn't going to blow your mind, if it doesn't get ad dollars. So it has to keep up with the Anthropics and the OpenAI, who they can just show middling returns, and yet Google has to ramp up, and it did, Gemini, to make it at least in the running, if not the leader of generative AI or we'll call large language models. So I think that's interesting, and you have to realize that this is why they're spending, not just because it's cool and new and they see a path forward, but for some of these companies, Meta, Google, to a lesser extent, Microsoft and Amazon, this is an existential crisis for them. So the spending continues. But what I'm really excited about is winners keep winning. So the Magnificent Seven doesn't look like they're going to be replaced because as of yet, there's nobody who can do what they do and reach the people that they reach.
And a lot of folks were talking about Tesla, too, that, you know, it's not a car company anymore. We're going to look to them for the Optimus robot and other things, full self-driving, even though I just read someone said it's not doing particularly well in the blazing sun. This week, when we hear from Amazon and Google, which one's going to be the one that is more surprising or makes Wall Street happy? Corey, quickly.
Well, to Kim's point about Google, you know, Google gets paid when people click on results. It doesn't get paid when it offers results. Right. So think about that. Like the inefficiency of Google, we think of Google as this incredibly efficient thing. You can search for stuff and then find the thing that might give you the answer. But it doesn't give you the answer. They get paid for leading you in a direction that will cause you to click quite often. And there's been a discussion for a long time, and Google has done their best to sort of put this discussion down. But fundamentally, when they are giving answers on Gemini, they're not getting advertising revenue. And when they're giving answers on Gemini, they're not getting clicks that will lead people to other sites and make them maybe continue to search a little bit further. The efficacy of Gemini hurts their ability to gain money from advertising. And so I think it's not a coincidence that Google stopped giving us some of the very few metrics they used to give us about how many clicks they're getting, they've never given us that number. They've given us the direction of the clicks and the change over time. But I think that what we see here is while the advertising revenue per click has increased for Google and helped them grow their business, Kim's right. I mean, the threat from AI is a real problem. I mean, a very successful Anthropic, a very successful ChatGPT could be really bad news for Google, even if it's smaller as an end result.